this is insane. A Washington State school has decreed that students must view lunchtime as a dangerous time for all. The school said that they can lower their mask to take a bite or a drink and then raise it to chew, swallow, or talk. This is a quote. Our cafeteria has a fantastic airflow system and children are spaced out apart. And when over 100 of them are in one large room, the cafeteria and gym combined, we need to treat lunchtime as a dangerous time for children. Dangerous time for all. You've got to be kidding me.
So weird. This obsession. Remember, one of the things that people, I think, don't realize here in the United States is that none of this is happening in Europe. In Europe,
we're the only ones
not masking kids like this. It's only happening here, which is very strange, right? I mean, like, you'd think they're supposed to be ahead of us. They're more progressive, quote unquote, than we are. All these issues we seem to have, they hit Europe first, typically. And also, we should point out, too, they got hit by the virus first. Right? And remember, northern Italy is one of the worst things that's, happened since the beginning of this virus. They really got wiped out early. But oddly, no matter what evidence is presented, this just continues to go on. And it shows the power of the teachers' unions to fight against science, not following it, not even leading it, but literally fighting against it.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Are we really truly the only country doing it? I've heard that.
There are areas that we're maybe not the only. I think we're the only country doing it in a widespread fashion like this. Now, of course, obviously, our whole country is not doing it either. I mean, we have, thankfully, because of our system of government and our Constitution that continues to hold up a little bit, Joe Biden can't just do these things. And he's, as you point out, with the vaccine mandate, it is awfully suspicious that we still don't even have the rule written yet. And how bizarre is this? He made a big show of this. Why on earth would you do it?
He said his patients were running thin.
Yeah. Well,
one
could
reason
you write the rule then?
One reason is because African Americans are outraged. His popularity has fallen with African Americans, I think, by 16%, just based on that one speech in just a few days. They don't like it, and he needs to have the African American support. That may be one reason. I think the real reason is he never intended it. He wanted big business just to do it.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Thank you so much. Can we just carry the president a little bit of the president's speech here? It's live on.
The vast majority of Americans are doing the right thing. 3/4 of the eligible have gotten at least one shot.
Mm-hmm.
But 1/4 has not gotten any.
Oh, my gosh.
And in a country as large as ours, that's 25% minority, can cause an awful lot of damage. And they are causing a lot of damage.
Are they?
The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units.
No.
Leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or a cancer operation needed to get the life-saving care, because the places where they would get that care are crowded. They are not available. Did you hear that
cancer people can't get cancer treatment because
the
of the
unvaccinated? Also put our
did you hear that?
Recovery at
you
risk.
did miss that still?
Causing unease in the economy.
Yeah, he's saying that now.
And causing unease around the kitchen table. I can imagine what's going on in the conversations this morning, and a lot of parents wondering what's going to happen.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Those who've been vaccinated.
Yeah. What's
going to happen?
What's going to happen? Okay, well, that's Joe Biden, and it's really thrilling and exciting. Where's his vaccine mandate? What happened to that? Remember? He was losing patients?
He can keep it, but I am curious as to why he cannot.
Maybe Bill Oreilly will have something on that. And, of course, the border, more on Afghanistan coming up. The author of, I don't even know, the 10th book in his multi-million-selling Killing series, Killing the Mob is the latest, and Bill Oreilly is just joining us now from BillO'Reilly.com, where you can watch his No Spin news every night at BillO'Reilly.com. All right, Bill, biggest story of the week.
Biggest story of the week, I would think, would be the polling that shows at this point in history more people would vote for Trump than Biden if they ran tomorrow. That's a pretty big turnaround, don't you think?
Well, seeing that it's only been 8 months, yeah.
And I mean, there's a spate of articles about how Democrats are panicking because they're not going to get their socialist agenda passed now. When a president starts to weaken, it's like anything else in the power circles. When opponents they sense weakness, then they become more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And so the people who don't like Biden, and there are a lot of them, are now saying, this guy's such a screw up. He's never going to come back. It's never going to get better. So let's bury him now. And so the people in the Democratic Party who are not real thrilled about being socialist, they now have an excuse not to pass this insane spending bill.
Yeah, what's weird is those people that don't like Joe Biden and are now like empowered to do stuff, doesn't seem like any of those people are Republicans. They're still just asleep. They're just.
You look, there is an anti-Biden movement in America, and it's fairly strong, even though you don't hear it on the corrupt corporate media. So they shut that down, with the exception of Fox and Newsmax and the right-wing networks. You don't have any regular networks anymore. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
It's either left-wing or right-wing. You don't have any, well, hey, come over here and we'll, tell you what's happening in the fairest way possible. Oh, no. You can't do that. Come on. We have to take a side.
Right.
But the momentum, if you want to use a sports cliche, is on the side of the anti-Biden people. And even though the corporate media hates that, they hate it. What are they going to do? You got 15,000 foreign nationals under a bridge in Del Rio, Texas. I mean, that's a pretty compelling photograph to show. You've got Afghanistan. We all know what happened there, and it continues to unfold as a horror. And now, we have people paying $1.50 more a gallon at the gas and paying a lot more for food. So the corporate media, and believe me, there have been meetings about this. They're going, what do we do? What can we do? So that's the big story of the week. Now, I wrote a message of the day on BillO'Reilly.com today, and I am predicting that you will see horrible new attacks on Donald Trump very soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way they can get the attention off the incompetence of Biden, is to trump up something, pardon the pun, against the former president. And I expect to see it as early as next week.
Wow. That goes, I assume this is because of the new poll that came out that shows Trump would win 51-41. Independent voters would overwhelmingly choose the Republican by 20 points over Joe Biden, and Trump would win 52-39 against Harris.
Right. So Trump isn't dead. All right. And they got to kill him. And they'll try. I mean, you're going to see stuff emerge. Now, on the other side, the anti-Biden forces, they're latching on to Hunter again. So now Hunter is he's coming back.
But Hunter is.
Hunter did that.
But we have to stop framing this as a Hunter Biden thing. This is not Hunter Biden. This is about Joe.
They're linking it to old Joe. They're linking it. Look, there was an article yesterday, and I don't know how true it is. I mean, it looked like a lot of speculation to me, that Joe Biden dodged hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes by forming an S corporation. Now, nobody knows what an S corporation is. They don't know. But the headline was Joe Biden dodged taxes. He wants to tax everybody up to the eyebrows. So what we have in America now is this fierce propaganda war on both sides. And the corporate media, which is the most powerful entity in that propaganda war, they are desperate to keep Biden from going under. And that's why you're going to see in the next few weeks some pretty intense stuff.
Well, I think it's good that you will see the intense stuff, hopefully, on Biden. Do you think the Hunter Biden thing ever goes to the mainstream media? I mean, really?
Only if he's indicted. So, look, if Hunter Biden is indicted, and I can't see that at a federal level. I mean, Merrick Garland is not going to do that. He's the attorney general, of course. But, Hunter Biden did a lot of very shady things. There's no doubt he did. And now there's new emails on his computer that he gave some pawn shop operator. I mean, this guy is totally out of his mind, Hunter. Right? I mean, your computer, you walk into a computer store loaded with bad stuff and you give it to some guy who's chewing tobacco?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that what you're doing? And so there's something here where Hunter Biden could get into formal trouble. And once that happens, it's like the bridge in Del Rio. You can't hide that story. You can't bury the story. For 8 months, ABC, NBC, CBS buried the border story, wouldn't report it. Now they have to. And now there's a new element of color because of the Haitians. So who's down there? Al Sharpton.
Didn't go well.
Yeah. Did Al go down when there were Hondurans? No. Did he go down for the Nicaraguans or the El Salvador? No. But as soon as there's a Haitian, there's Al. And so now Biden's got cross currents of the Black Lives Matter, the Al Sharptons, because of the Haitians. Now they're turning on Biden a little bit. Now, this is even worse for the New York Times and the Washington Post. They don't know what to do now because people of color are turning on Biden. And it's from my perch, because I'm a big picture guy, unlike you, Beck. I'm a big picture guy. I'm seeing a total deterioration not only of the Biden presidency, but of the corrupt corporate media.
Well,
they don't know what the deuce to do.
73% of the American public in the latest poll I saw blamed the media for this debacle down on the border because they said that, I mean, they blamed Biden, but more of them also blamed the media because they said they never covered it until now. And if they would have covered it, we would have been forced to pay attention.
Folks. Good for the folks. We often talk about people not paying attention and being prisoners to their cell phones. But I think that after a while, when the situation becomes so irredeemable, and this applies to Afghanistan and to inflation, that even the dimmest among us, which would be probably Beverly Hills, Hollywood, they start to go, oh, well, maybe we're on the wrong track here. It's just good for the folks.
Let me ask you about the COVID mandate. A week ago, Biden came out and said his patience is running thin. He's going to be mandating these vaccines, and then nothing happened. Why?
Because he doesn't want to get into a Supreme Court fight. So Biden can mandate federal workers. They have to take the vax because they're employed, and Biden's in charge of the federal government. So he can do that, and he's not going to lose legally. But once he starts to tell Sally in Des Moines, Iowa, that she has to be vaccinated and so do her children, then Biden is into Supreme Court territory. And I think that the Democrats and the progressives and the people who run Biden know they have a better than even chance of losing. Because it's unlike smallpox and measles and things like that, the vaccines are not locked down. They will be as they get perfected, but not quite yet. And so the argument can be made that, look, you're forcing people to take a vaccine they don't want, and they're not really protected from COVID, and look at all the breakthrough and crossover cases. That's enough. So Biden knows that he can't mandate, and if he did, there would be rebellion like there is in Australia. I mean, keeping an eye. Australia is just like America, by the way, very similar. And there's riots in the streets there now.
Right.
Because of what the Australian government's doing.
Well, the Biden administration, when he came out and said, I want mandates, the number of people that got vaccines actually has gone down pretty dramatically. He is.
You're in the zone now where the persuadables have been persuaded. So you've got 30 to 25% of Americans who you can't persuade them. They're not going to take the vaccine unless, draconian measures.
I don't think. I got news for you. I don't think so. I think that by him coming out and saying we're going to do a vax mandate, and my patients are running thin. It's that day that he said that the vaccine, the people getting vaccine, those numbers went down. I think. Yes, the harder he pushes, the more people go, there's something wrong here. This isn't right. What's happening?
You're absolutely right. That hardened the resistance and brought sympathy in some precincts to the anti-vax movement because they don't like Biden. I mean, conservative people don't like Biden, but the untold story here, and I'm writing a column partially about this on Sunday, again, BillO'Reilly.com is where I am, is that the African-American community is by far the most anti-vax community in the United States. You've seen that reported on NBC, ABC, or CBS lately?
No.
No. Black Lives Matter is actually screaming that New York City mandates are racist now. They're out. They're screaming it's racist. So Black Lives Matter has now allied with the anti-vax movement. It's unbelievable, but it's true.
We have some audio on that. Let me play the audio.
All restaurant industries, the service industry, needs to wake up to the realities that these mandates are unconstitutional. That's right. We need to stand up against them. Because those that are against us thinking that we are either anti-vaccine, and whether they are or not, I don't care. The thing is, I am pro-choice. If they want to choose to get the vaccine, and if they want to deny it, they should have the choice to do so. Right. So if you mandate and you push them out of your industries, out of your restaurants, my people are discriminating. It's the same as it was back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Now, has it changed?
He kind of sounds a little like me. I don't care if you're going to get it or not. It's not right. You should have a right to choose.
Is that the Black Lives Matter spokesperson?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because he didn't ID him. I think his name is Hank Newsom. He is not related to Gavin in California.
Yeah, I would love to see that family reunion if that were true, though. Back with more Bill Oreilly in just a second. Let me tell you, Haitian migrant families who illegally crossed the southern border and lived in a makeshift camp beneath the international bridge are being released into the United States, contradicting the Biden administration's claims that they would be removed from the country. Buses come from the processing centers throughout the region where migrants who have been waiting for days under the Del Rio Acuna International Bridge are transported and processed into the system. From there, they are either released into the U.S. if they make a credible claim of fear of returning to their own country, or flown back to their country of origin. Greyhound buses arrive at a gas station at 11:30 and 5:30 p.m. daily. The buses take passengers directly to San Antonio, Texas, roughly 2.5 hours away. And it is full of Haitian migrants, these people that have come across and we were supposed to be getting rid of. The U.S. government is just picking them up in buses and dropping them off at a gas station.
Yeah, so the Biden administration, as usual, doesn't tell the truth to the American people. If you're a single Haitian male, they won't let you in. But if you're a family, a father, mother, a kid, they will. And you will get to go where you want to go, just as most of the other 2 million people have crossed into the USA since Biden has been in office. Most of those people are scattered around the country now. So that's the truth. Biden administration will never tell you the truth. And what people should understand is Haiti is the worst place in the world. Have you been to Haiti? I've been there a couple of times.
I have been. It's horrendous.
It's the worst. Right.
Yeah.
The United States since 2010 has sent $5 billion with a B in aid. Other countries have spent $13 billion in aid, and Sean Penn and his crew have raised $3 billion privately, right, for a grand total of $22 billion, and not one thing has improved in Haiti.
Not one thing. And the people of Haiti know it. It is completely corrupt. Completely corrupt.
But it is not a political situation there in the sense that these Haitians, if sent back, are going to get beheaded like they would in Afghanistan.
Correct.
This is poverty and corruption. So, you know, if you're going to let every person in the country who lives in a corrupt, poor nation, then a United States ceases to exist. And that is what Joe Biden is doing.
Well, it'll be interesting when we go to Canada because we're now living in a poor, corrupt nation.
Oh, you don't want to go to Canada. Ireland is the place. Ireland is the okay. Canada, you don't want to go.
Mm-hmm. Do they let you in Ireland?
They love me. Every time I go over there, it's like a madhouse. And I don't know even why. I mean, when we were on Fox News, yes, that got in. But somehow my BillO'Reilly.com is like huge. And my columns and stuff like that. So when I go to Ireland, I try to go every 2 years. I go over there and it's, hey, Bill, hey. And I'm going, how do you know who I am? You know, it's kind of like that.
It's weird. It's weird. But they're all drunk. And
that's great, Beck. I'm filing a complaint.
All right, more with Bill Oreilly in just a second. Stand by. Governor DeSantis posted a video yesterday announcing the acquisition of additional doses of monoclonal antibody treatments to counteract the federal government's reduction in Florida's supply of the treatments. He is just making Joe Biden look like a fool, and it makes me happy. Any thoughts on what the government did to Texas and Florida on this treatment?
I do have a thought, but give me 45 seconds at the end of our chat today. Sure. I want to update you on the Trump history show.
Okay.
In a case like this, I don't know what happened. So the accusations are that the Biden administration somehow denied red states medicine that could help to mitigate COVID. That's the accusation.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know, and I have to say maybe I should, but I've tried, and my staff has tried to get the facts about who ordered the diminishment of the shipments. I can't get it. So until I have it, I don't really want to speculate. That's not what I do, Beck.
Well, that's a fair assessment. Let me ask you this: DeSantis is clearly positioning himself for a run in 2024. I'm asked this question all the time, and I answer it the same way every time. Of course he is. Is Donald Trump going to run in 2024?
He wants to. So, I talk to Donald Trump, I would say once every 2 weeks now because we have the big shows coming up. And he's pretty candid with me. I have to say in 30 years, he's never lied to me or misled me ever. Now, I have I think, unique relationship with him because he knows that I'm a no BS guy. And if you lie to me, it's not going to go down well. but he wants to run, and he is looking at possibilities. Nobody in the Republican Party wants a big primary shootout like last time. That's the big thing. So Trump, everybody knows what Trump did to Jeb Bush and Little Marco and Lion Ted. I mean, do we want to go through this again?
Not really.
No. There isn't a Republican in the country that wants that. So there are discussions. The three names that are prominent now, and there'll be names added to this list, are DeSantis, Senator Scott from South Carolina, and Governor Noem from South Dakota. So those are the three that want to run for president and are positioning themselves to do so. How that shakes is impossible to predict right now. But speculating, and again, I don't like to do that, if the Trump people could convince DeSantis to take the VP, it's two white men, but I think at that point that demographic is not going to matter because Biden is going to be so horrendous 2 years from now when the campaign really begins. That people aren't going to be looking at skin color anymore. It's not going to be a Kamala Harris situation.
I have to tell you, not based on color at all, but I think Tim Scott would be a strong vice presidential candidate, not just because he's black, but because he is a really strong constitutionalist. That would be a great choice as a VP because he could go on to be president.
But you have to understand, if it's going to be Trump as the main guy, DeSantis isn't just going to willow away.
No, I know
Maybe.
that.
All right, so you've got three guys, and then Governor Noem is a force, and that's one obviously. So whether they come to an agreement that Scott would be Secretary of State, DeSantis would be VP, Kristi Noem would be, whatever Kristi Noem wants to be, and they form a, four-prong, then that would solve the problem. But that's a big if.
So would Donald Trump operate the same way he did last time, or what did he learn from the first time that it would make this different?
What did he learn? That's very hard. The odds of Donald Trump changing his style, and his style is basically no one knows what he's going to do from hour to hour. That's his style.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not talking about his style, though. There is one thing that concerns me is he has a right to be vindictive and just take them on.
Absolutely.
But
justified, particularly in his own mind,
yes,
that he can search and destroy the opposition because they're so heinous.
Right.
Now, I'm gonna tell you about a private conversation I had with Donald Trump. I don't think he would mind this. I hope he doesn't. And he asked me. I never call him unless it's a business thing, and I never give unsolicited advice to any president. They have to ask me. So he asked me, and I said, if I were in your situation, not if I were you, okay, because that goes flying out the window. No one is like Donald Trump.
No one.
No one. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, if I were in your situation, I would study Winston Churchill. Because what Churchill did is exactly the position you're in. So after World War II, the British people turned on Churchill and booted him out as prime minister. And for a year, Churchill was in what he calls a black dog depression. He went to the south of France. He painted stuff, I guess.
No, beautiful paintings.
Clementine couldn't even talk to him for a year. Okay? And then he plotted his comeback. And he did it the way he was reelected in 1955 as prime minister, was basically looking ahead. Here's what we have. We have the Cold War. I just made a speech in America at Harry Truman's invitation, the Iron Curtain. That's Winston Churchill.
Right.
Okay? And I said, look, Churchill got hosed, but he let it go and sold himself as a guy who would improve the country in the future. You might want to consider that, Mr. President. So that's what I said, and I hope he's not offended that I told the Beck audience. But, I don't think I could have given him better advice.
No, I don't think so either. So tell me about the tour. When does it start? A couple of weeks? It's in October, isn't it?
In December, but
December.
On Monday we're starting to market it. We haven't marketed the tour. It's been announced, of course, and I've chatted about it. But we haven't marketed. Now, there are 4 shows. One in Fort Lauderdale in Sunrise. They just changed the name of the arena. Not always a good thing. It's now the FLA Live Arena. And that is on Saturday, the 11th of December. Then we trundle on up to Orlando Toyota Center on Sunday, the 12th. Then the next weekend, Houston on the 18th. And then Dallas, the American Airlines Arena on the 19th. And that's the show Beck will be at if you want to mob him for autographs. So on Monday, you're going to start to see spots, Beck. You'll see them because they're going to run in the Dallas-Fort Worth area about the show. And what the message I'm getting at is now all the VIPs for all 4 venues are sold out. All right. But there are still nice seats available if you go this weekend, Ticketmaster or the arenas themselves or BillO'Reilly.com. We'll link you right over. And it makes great Christmas gifts. What better Christmas gift if you like Trump, but even if you don't like him? This is a history tour. No BS.
I'll tell you.
Happened?
I tell you, Bill. I talked to Donald Trump this week. He was on the program with me, and he was. I really I miss him. He is so funny, and I miss his frankness of just calling bull crap.
Well, you can imagine O'Reilly and Trump together on one stage.
Yeah,
anything could happen. Anything could happen.
Yeah, no,
and then we're going to take Q&A from the audience. So what I'm trying to tell everybody is even if you don't live in Florida or Texas, this is a once in a lifetime. This will never happen again. And so you might want to check that out, think about it, and I hope everybody comes in this weekend because those shows are going to be great and they're all going to be different.
Bill Oreilly and Donald Trump. Tickets are on sale now. You go to BillO'Reilly.com and get them. I am going to be at one of the Texas shows, probably the one here in Dallas, and it will prove to be enlightening and very, very entertaining. Bill Oreilly, thank you so much.
Always fun. Thanks for having me in.
You bet.